What's up, everybody? Welcome. Live. Ask me anything. It's Justin. You know that. You're here, waiting for me. Awesome. Let's make sure that I'm live and everything is working properly. Okay, it says Clovis Culture. Tag me in a post. I'm going to refresh. I'm going to make sure I can see myself. It says live. What's up? It's Wednesday. I love Wednesdays. Ask me anything. This is number 34. That's crazy. There's been so many. Okay, let me see. Click for more. Got some live viewers. What's up? What's up? I got you guys pulled up on my screen. Got the double screens going. All is well. Everything's working. Internet's working. House is in order. Good. Let's do this thing. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Live Ask Me Anything number 34. We're calling this one Time to Change Your Mind. I say we. I'm calling this one. I made the call. I call the shots, right? Live Ask Me Anything number 34. Time to Change Your Mind. This is an episode that I've been kind of brainstorming for a few weeks, wanting to talk directly to the skeptics. I hope you have some skeptics watching tonight who think that I'm a crazy person because I tell you to eat, I don't know, real food and stuff. You know, that's weird. Everything sounded good. Sean, what's up, Sean? What's up, Kathy? What's up, Christy? What's up, Josh? Very confusing with that Facebook name, man. What's up, Steve? How you guys doing? All right, cool. Click the like buttons, click the heart buttons, click the happy emojis, click all the cool things. Get the engagement up. Tag your friends in this. If they're skeptics, tag the shit out of them and get them over here to watch this episode because it's important. I'm barely going to talk about nutrition science at all. I'm going to talk about how to get people to change their minds because it's in their best interest, right? So, for those of you that don't know, this is a Live Ask Me Anything. I pull these questions from the Clovis Academy, which is free. Facebook.com/groups/Clovis Academy. I think I lost my marker. Oh no. Wait a second. Hold on, guys. Thinking. Just a second. I got a new one because I have 17,000 of these things. Also, I got a new board. It's cool. It looks really good when you write on it like this. Hi, everybody. But it glares a little bit, but that's cool. We're going to see how this goes. I don't know. It's a much better board, and it was a pain in the ass to install, but we did it. So, yeah, those of you that don't know, Clovis Academy, Facebook.com/groups/Clovis Academy. Go check that out. You can ask me questions. I go live almost every day. We do a morning manifesto. It's awesome. We have I Am Clovis, which is for the paid members that have custom nutrition plans. I go live in there. I see what they want to talk about in all of their Ask Me Anythings weekly as they log in. I want to see what they want to talk about, and I want to help them get it. Steve, if it freezes, it might be on your end, brother. Sorry about that. But then I go on Clovis Kids. Clovis Kids is another Facebook group for the families who are on Clovis Kids family plans, right? Fantastic. You got 3 different groups you can get into. Clovis Academy, I Am Clovis, and Clovis Kids, all on Facebook. These are all private groups, safe space for you to communicate with other Clovis-minded people, right? Okay, so what are we talking about today? Ask Me Anything number 34, Time to Change Your Mind. We are talking directly to the skeptics because I need to do that. I'm talking to the people who think that I'm a quack. Talking to the people who think that paleo is nonsense. Talking to the people who think that the mainstream doctors and the US government have everything figured out. We're talking to the people that think the government has your best interest at heart when it comes to making policy decisions around food, agriculture, subsidies, all these things that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about why it's kind of crazy to trust the mainstream at this point. I'm going to explore what we have to show for the advice that we received over the last 40 years. I'm going to explain why it's so hard to change people's minds. I'm going to talk about the role that money plays in all this. I'm going to explain the future impacts of what's happening in today's society for your grandkids, literally. Some of you already have grandkids. We're talking about great-grandkids and great-great-grandkids, right? Generations to come. I'm going to explain what they will be taught in the future and what they will be taught about us here and now, right? We're going to talk about all this stuff. It's going to be pretty cool. So, just for those of you that don't know me, if you are a skeptic and you're watching or you've seen some content or haven't seen content, brand new, whatever, my name is Justin Nault. I am the founder and CEO of Clovis. I am a certified nutritional therapist. I am a specialist in sports nutrition. I am a specialist in fitness nutrition. I invented the Perfect Paleo Powder. I have a bag of it sitting right here. I invented a full line of paleo-friendly nutritional powders. Perfect Paleo Powder, this is the pre-workout. We have a post-workout, digest and rest, and fat loss formulas in 3 delicious flavors: cacao, vanilla, and strawberry. Awesome stuff. Also, I transform people's lives. I have transformed the lives of over 500 clients through one-on-one customized nutrition plans. That's what I do. I help people lose weight. I help them lose fat. I help them build muscle. I help them become better athletes. I work with some professional athletes. You name it, we've done it. 40 pounds in 60 days, 50 pounds in 8 weeks, 100 pounds in 6 months, whatever you can think of, I have a client who has done it. That's a bit about me. I help people drop body fat, help people drop inches, all the things, and we're gonna do that today. Today is not gonna be a very science-heavy episode. It's gonna be more of a society-based episode. So, now that you know a bit about me, let's jump right in, okay? Let's see. All right, we got a big comment here. Leadership theory about convincing people on the fence rather than confronting the entrenched haters. Can't recall the name. That I agree with that 100%. And we'll get into that. You'll see as we go on. So let's start with something that I'm calling ego This is a bad marker, guys. Ego versus ideas. Let me get a new marker just in case. Hold on. I just got the whole box. I don't know what's going on. Sorry about that, guys. So ego versus ideas. That's what we're talking about right now. If you are a skeptic watching this, why do you refuse to change your mind? That's what we need to talk about. But first things first, I want to let you know that I fully understand. I completely understand why you might think I'm a total asshole for telling people to eat moderate carbohydrate and adequate fat and healthy levels of protein and all these things, right? Why do I understand? Because I did traditional bodybuilding and followed mainstream advice, and I got all my health advice from Muscle and Fitness magazine and my primary care doctors for over 10 years. I did it the same way you're doing it. I did it the same way the mainstream does it. I was training 6 days per week, 2 hours a day, counting every single calorie that I ate, eating plenty of healthy whole grains. At age 15, maybe 16, I can't exactly remember. By that time, I was already hooked on caffeine pills and ephedrine pills because the mainstream advice wasn't working and I couldn't figure out why. I was literally swallowing handfuls of hydroxycut pills in my mid-teen years. Literally, that's where mainstream advice gets you. If it doesn't work, it's your fault. Try harder, right? By my 20s, I was very seriously considering, thinking long and hard about taking steroids, the same steroids that the guy in the gym around me was on, the same steroids that my personal trainer was on, because I wanted to look like the guys in the magazines. And I've been doing this for years and I couldn't freaking figure it out. It wasn't working, right? Not only that, but I was following their advice perfectly, methodically, obsessively. If you have seen my company, if you have communicated with me in any way, you understand that I do things very methodically. And some would say obsessively. I am the same way with fitness and nutrition. I always have been. I was just operating on poor advice back then. Following their advice perfectly with nothing to show for it. I was literally 28% body fat, smushy all over. Sure, I was big, stocky, right? 185 pounds at 5'8". I'm a meathead, look at me, right? I was, quote unquote, a fit person in my own mind. I held firm to my beliefs all the time. I would debate people, I'd argue with people. I was a fit person. I was someone who had researched nutrition, right? Because I'd read freaking Muscle and Fitness magazine, or I'd done Beachbody program. I'm a nutrition guy, I'm a fitness guy, right? I was so stuck. But the reality is, I was a complete ass clown and I had no idea what I was talking about and refused to get my mind changed. Why? Because I had a giant ego. I had a gigantic ego. I did not want to be told that I was wrong because I connected my beliefs and my ideas with my self-worth. And that's a big, big issue. You never want to do that, okay? But that was the reality. If you question my opinion on something, I was instantly defensive and literally ready to fight. And in fact, I had this story where I had this girl that I dated years and years ago, who brought me a copy of The 4-Hour Body by Tim Ferriss. And I flipped through the thing for all of 30 seconds and was like, what? This guy doesn't eat any brown rice and he thinks carbs make you fat. This guy's a complete moron, a complete quack. What a dumbass, right? And I never looked at the book until years and years and years later. She actually left it at my house. And if you guys know anything about me, I literally built Clovis on Tim Ferriss advice. I'm a huge Tim Ferriss fan. I came around after time, right? And deep down, while I'm sitting here saying this guy's a clown, he doesn't know what he's talking about, I'm secretly and subconsciously upset because this guy has six-pack abs and I don't, right? And that really bothered me. So it took me years to come around and give this paleo thing a shot. Once I gave the paleo thing a shot, because of personal experiences that happened, some of them tragic with my family, you can go back and watch those other episodes if you want to, but my life changed forever. I started dropping body fat effortlessly, started reading countless books and exploring all of the actual evidence that disproves all of the mainstream nutrition advice. I learned that the food pyramid is backed by exactly zero scientific evidence, none whatsoever. I learned that the government recommendations for fat and cholesterol were actually disproven by clinical studies, and the results were then swept under the rug and hidden from the public, all in the name of profit. This is what we're talking about when you think Clovis is crazy and the mainstream has it right. It's literally the equivalent of you being led to slaughter. That's what it is. You're being manipulated on a very deep level. It's methodical. It's purposeful. Every single day of your life, you're being manipulated. Now, you desperately need to start thinking for yourself. Your life literally depends on it, right? What do I have to gain from changing your mind? Really? You can consume all my content for free. You never have to buy a powder from me. You never have to get a custom plan. You can consume all my content for free. I don't gain shit by changing your mind, right? But I'm trying to because I need to do this in the world because it's so unjust. This is the work that I have decided to do. You need to start thinking for yourself. And I outline my own story because you may be exactly where I was, refusing to change your mind. I refused to change my mind for a long time. I suffered tremendously. I worked a lot harder than I had to, but there's something that I didn't realize and something that you probably don't realize either. In your head, what you are actually dealing with is fear. You are dealing with fear. You are afraid to go against the status quo. You're afraid of being different. You're afraid of trying something new, and God forbid, you may be wrong. Because then everyone's going to judge you. Everyone's going to think you're dumb, and no one will love you, right? This sounds dramatic, but it's actually what's going on in your head. It's what's happening behind the scenes with this big, giant ego. That's what your subconscious is saying. You're not afraid of the health consequences of Clovis. I'm so tired of hearing this shit. When people are like, my brother said that he's nervous if he eats all this fat, he's gonna have a heart attack, right? I promise you, none of you are afraid of Clovis because of the nutrition science. You're not. How do I know that? Because most of you will drink a 0-calorie energy drink and eat Doritos without questioning a single ingredient in that food because they're low fat. You're not concerned about the science. Let's be honest about that. You're afraid of being different. Or even worse, you're afraid you don't have the discipline to do it. You're afraid of failure. Because it might be hard at first, right? It might take some effort, but you're simply afraid. And I don't want you to feel bad about that because I was too. I was terrified. It's like, wait a minute, what? Like, I eat brown rice and tilapia every day. Now you're telling me brown rice is bad? Now you're telling me tilapia is poison? What the hell? What am I supposed to eat? I eat pasta with low-fat marinara sauce 3 times a week. What the hell am I supposed to do? I'm eating multigrain pasta, dude. I'm as healthy as they get. That's what I thought, right? And there's proof of this all over society, that people are afraid to change their minds. So I talked about this last week with the herd mentality. If you want to go back and watch that, how weight loss ruined everything. That's AMA number 33. Talked about that. It says everyone else is doing it thing, right? So I had a conversation with my dad today. My dad picked me up at the airport. We went out to breakfast together. Dad is a very successful entrepreneur. He started an IT company called Atreon Networking like 30 years ago. He's since sold it. But once upon a time, he had over 300 employees, right? That's a lot of people. So as I'm brainstorming, telling Dad what I want to talk about tonight, because I always bounce ideas off him, he told me something super interesting, and I actually wrote it down because I wanted to remember it when he said it, right? He said, Justin, it is well documented and has been for years in the corporate world that people will stay in a shitty job with awful pay for decades if they feel a sense of social belonging. He told me that they will stay even when they know they're qualified to do bigger and better things because they don't want to start from scratch. They don't want to give up that sense of belonging, right? And the tribal sense of belonging is one of the greatest motivators for humans. It's hardwired in our genetic code. Separating from the tribe throughout all of history has typically been a death sentence, for real. Okay, you can't survive without the tribe. Now, the people who follow Clovis in my work, they found a new tribe, right? They caught all sorts of shit from it, from their friends and family and significant others and loved ones or whatever. But now they have their new tribe to lean on. Hey, my husband's being a dick. And another lady's like, hey, my husband's being a dick too, right? Eventually the husbands come around because they have hot wives and they don't want to get left. So they come around, right? But for those of us in Clovis who understand the real reality of nutrition and have been in this world for a while, it's so easy, it's too easy for us to think, everyone knows this stuff. Everyone knows it. This is common sense. Everything Justin says is common sense, right? Nothing could be further from the truth. And I want to explain to you that almost nobody knows what we're talking about right now. Literally almost no one in the grand scheme of things. So I want you to understand this. There are over 300 million Americans, right? I was listening to Dr. Mark Hyman on a podcast recently, and he said there's probably as many as 10,000 functional medicine doctors practicing in the US. Now, I believe that is undoubtedly a very high estimation. It may be less than that, right? So let's just say there's 10,000 functional medicine doctors. There are over 1 million doctors practicing in the US, right? 10,000 versus 1 million. We're talking about less than 1%. If we're being generous, we got 1% of all doctors in the US, right? Using lifestyle intervention for disease prevention, okay? In fact, skeptics of functional medicine still call it pseudoscientific silliness and quackery. That's what we're dealing with, right? The practice that reverses chronic diseases that were thought to be irreversible and does it in record time, incredibly rapid, and it's pseudoscience, silliness, and quackery, right? It's insane. But this is what makes it so easy for people to continue being skeptics of Clovis and other nutrition protocols that are willing to challenge the status quo, just like I am, right? We are absurdly outnumbered. It's just a numbers game. It makes sense that the skeptics are the skeptics, right? They're sticking with the tribe. Now, for the skeptics, I want you to understand, you are not defending nutrition science. You are defending your ego, plain and simple. Let's talk about it. Just stick with me here and let's talk about it. I'm on your side, I promise. I've been there, right? But you are defending your ego. You're not defending science. You're afraid of no longer being in the 99%. You're afraid of completely starting over. You're afraid of building a new belief system. But you're only afraid because you've been lied to. It's not your fault. We've all been lied to. We've all been brainwashed from a very young age that changing your mind or quote unquote flip-flopping is bad. For proof, let's talk about the phrase and the phrase that we just said, flip-floppers, and the absurd indoctrination of this, right? So if we talk about flip-floppers, historically, you guys probably know the term flip-flopper because it's been used to describe politicians for years, right? Politicians who change their mind about certain policies, right? They vote one way, a few years later they vote another way. Flip-flopper, flip-flopper. Being a flip-flopper is enough to create a negative ad campaign about a politician. It's enough to prevent them from getting elected. It's looked down upon so fiercely in the United States of America to flip-flop, right? And as if it's a bad thing to change your mind when presented with new evidence. You know, which is what every human on earth should do all the freaking time if they can untangle their identity from their ideas, which they can't seem to do, right? So we're taught things like curiosity killed the cat, and we should trust the experts rather than question anything at all, right? Blindly. Okay, you know what's best for me, right? We're given the same advice over and over in the health and wellness spaces, and it works for almost no one. 70% of adults are overweight. 70%! What? Right? So you think about it, it works for almost no one, and yet people will still fight for the government and the mainstream approach to health and wellness. It's absurd. Who are you fighting for? Are these guys your friends? What are you doing? Why are you defending their arguments, right? And the government, mainstream medical are the worst offenders, because here's why. It's so bad that when clinical studies over and over and over and over again proved zero link between dietary fats, heart disease, and cholesterol levels, the government still hasn't adjusted its recommendations. Why? Because they don't want to flip-flop. Then they have to admit that they were wrong. So, when the evidence is overwhelming and they can't ignore it, they do things quietly. Like in, I want to say it was 2015, but they removed the limitation on dietary cholesterol. They removed any and all limitation completely from all government websites without so much as a press release. Nice and quiet. Admit no fault. We didn't get it wrong. It's just not on the website anymore, right? Or to add to this recent shady activity, companies like, namely, Google, are now weighting search results. Literally weighting search results so that websites, nutrition and fitness websites that toe the party line and they preach mainstream, they're getting better Google rankings than guys like me. Our websites get buried because we challenge the status quo. This is real life, guys. This is North Korea shit, and it's happening right now. Things are getting dangerous, right? Literally burying websites. And you don't realize this, but you've been conditioned your entire life that changing your mind is bad, even when faced with overwhelming evidence. So I'll give you an example. I've had morbidly obese people come to me, sign up for a plan, pay me, receive their plan, and argue with me on every single point of the plan. And they say, I know that won't work. That's not gonna work. That's crazy. I know that won't work. And it's emails back and forth. I get 5 emails the first day from them, and I fire those clients immediately. And this is what Josh is talking about. You want to deal with the people who are on the fence, who want their mind changed, who want something new, who are willing to learn. If you stonewall me, you're out. Here's your money back. Go away. Go be miserable somewhere else, right? I'm not going to deal with that. I'm just not going to. You're not an open-minded person. You're not part of my tribe. Get out of here, right? You need to be open to evidence, and you need to disconnect your ego from the ideas so you can have a conversation, right? That's it. If you want a happy, fulfilling life, you must disconnect your ego from, your ego being your identity, you must disconnect your identity from your beliefs and ideas. That's the only way to have real, meaningful conversation in your life. You should want to have your mind changed. I want to have my mind changed all the time. I want to grow and learn with you guys. When you do not connect your beliefs and ideas to your actual self-worth, that's when life will improve. The behaviors that you're used to, this kind of tying your ego and everything, it's got to be left in the dust if you want to grow as a human being. So now we're going to move on. For those of you that really are convinced that Clovis is nonsense and the government and mainstream have your best interest in heart, I'm going to break some things down for you, because you need to understand the deep level of manipulation that has happened to you over decades, every day. Again, it's literally like you're being led to slaughter. It's that bad. Now, it gets much worse than this flip-flopper talk, okay? It gets much worse. I'm going to talk about that, but I'm going to take a look at some comments real quick, and then we're going to talk about just how bad this is and why you should be really, really afraid of what the mainstream is doing, okay? You need to understand that you have been duped. Let's see, what do we got here? Yes, someone said to me, sleeping too much is a waste of time. Good Lord, okay, that's interesting. They've done zero research on sleep, clearly. I adore my Clovis tribe. Me too. Pick your tribe carefully. Yes, absolutely. Preach. Carla, salt shots. Do salt shots in secret like a baby to avoid conflict. That's hilarious. I actually try really hard to avoid conflict too, believe it or not, because I would say that even among my friends, not so much family. Family's pretty awesome about it, but like even among my friends, someone is going to bust my balls about this paleo, Clovis, fitness world at least 3 times a day, at least, really. They're lucky they're my friends because I can totally beat them up. That's how it started. Paleo helped me with pain and inflammation, as well as binge eating. That's awesome. Okay, we're back up to Josh's comment. So let's move on. Let's talk to the skeptics directly. This is for you. Okay. I don't know about this board, guys. This is not working out. Uh-oh. Jeez. I swear it was working well this afternoon. This may have been a poor purchase. Might be doing an Amazon refund, okay? But let's talk first about government, corporations, and hypocrisy. So a few things I want to talk about here for the super, super opinionated people out there. I want you to think about this from a different angle, an angle that you may not have seen with this nutrition fitness space. We're going to talk about the government, right? Now, I'm going to make an assumption that everyone watching this video is reasonably informed, reasonably educated, right? If you ask almost any average person today's political landscape, 2018, if you were to ask just about any stranger on the street if they fully trust the US government, they will all absolutely say no. You might find a few that really trust the government, right? But it's probably rare. You would probably say no as well. You probably say you distrust the government, probably say you distrust big corporations. How many people have I heard on Facebook be like, Walmart is evil, right? You'll say you distrust corporations. You'll say things like Walmart's evil, corporations are evil, Amazon's taking over the world. These are all evil people, right? Their pockets get fatter, evil, evil. The rich get richer, all this stuff, right? Most people will basically say they distrust anyone who has any control or regulation over the country whatsoever. And then those same people will get into a Facebook debate about nutrition. And they'll start saying things. They'll start reciting rhetoric like whole grains are healthy and we need carbs for energy and everything in moderation. A calorie is a calorie and food is food. Energy balance, blah, 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 right? Ridiculous nonsense. And you don't realize that you're literally reciting rhetoric. That's what you're doing from the very people that you claim to not trust. So let's get into this corporations things, right? This is kind of like a kid at an Occupy Wall Street protest screaming, corporations are evil, while he's live streaming on a $900 Apple iPhone that he bought with his parents' money, right? That's what this is like. You're not seeing the hypocrisy. Neither person, the Occupy Wall Street kid or maybe you who's defending mainstream nutrition, you're not looking at the view from 30,000 feet, missing the hypocrisy here. When you're busy trying to win an argument, instead of having a conversation, you can't see the big picture, right? You can't because your beliefs are tied to your ego. You're too caught up in being right, puts blinders on you, and you can't see what's actually going on. You cannot see that you, me, the entire Clovis Academy, and the rest of the country have been lied to our entire lives about health and wellness. We've paid for it dearly. We've been robbed of our money. We've been robbed of our health, all in the name of big corporations, government, and profits. Let's examine. I want to examine, in this little segment, this is going to be fun. I've never tried anything like this, right? I want to examine who's crazy. We're going to play a game called Who's Crazy, right? Justin and Clovis, is it complete nonsense or is the mainstream a little bit off, okay? So let's play a game. I'm gonna read the ingredients list from a few products and you guys out there have to guess what they are. I'm just gonna read the ingredients list of these products and then you there sitting alone at home can play along and you can guess what these products are, okay? Now, you tell me, while we do this, I want you to remember, these are health foods. These are all recommended health foods by the mainstream, and I'll tell you what organizations. By mainstream standards, these are health foods. Let's try this, okay? Product number one, quote unquote, food. Here go the ingredients. Whole grain corn, sugar, cornmeal, corn syrup, canola oil, salt, trisodium phosphate, natural and artificial flavor, red number 40, yellow number 6, blue number 1, and other color added, citric acid, and malic acid. What delicious, nutritious food is that? Anybody? Anybody? Probably not. I don't want to take too much time waiting for the guess. It's kind of a rhetorical question, right? Trix cereal. Trix. Let's write Trix over here. Trix from General Mills. Your old friends at General Mills, right? Millions of kids every day start their day with that ingredients list that I just read you because it's healthy. Okay? Let's try another. Ingredients. Sugar, whole grains, corn, oats, rice, corn flour, modified cornstarch, cocoa, canola and or rice bran oil, corn syrup, cocoa processed with alkali, salt, calcium carbonate, caramel and beet juice concentrate color, tricalcium phosphate, trisodium phosphate, zinc and iron, artificial flavor, wheat starch. What's that one? Let me just tell you. Cocoa Puffs, again, from your friends at General Mills. General Mills, looking out for your best interest, right? I'm gonna give you one more, okay? One more that is not a breakfast cereal. That's your hint, not a breakfast cereal. Tapioca starch, water, rice flour, soybean oil, canola oil, palm and kernel oil, modified food starch, potato starch, yeast, baking powder, whole eggs, fumaric acid, mono and diglycerides with citric acid, a preservative, maltodextrin, dextrose, xanthan gum, egg whites, calcium propionate, and salt. What was that? Seems crazy, right? Whole wheat pita wraps. Staple health food, according to mainstream nutrition, right? That's brought to you by a company called Tofine, right? You literally can't tell the difference between health foods. If you read the ingredients, you have no idea what it is. No clue. You could never. I could put Powerball money in front of you. And I could read those ingredients before I told you what they are, and you would not have guessed them without using Google or something else. There's no possible way. You can't even tell what the hell this food is, okay? What do they all have in common? Wheat, corn, and soy in every single one, right? Which makes up wheat, corn, and soy combined make up 60% of the calories that Americans eat every day. Wheat, corn, soy, 60% of the food consumed in America. That's what it is, right? Why? Because they are the most profitable crops on planet Earth, raking in $63.9 billion a year. Oh, and they just so happen to be the most subsidized foods by the U.S. government. Good old US of A. They want a piece of that $63.9 billion annually, so 60% of America's food intake is wheat, corn, and soy. What does the government need to subsidize these crops? Oh, you know, just, $20 billion of your hard-earned tax dollars every year to subsidize those crops. $20 billion a year spent on subsidizing wheat, corn, and soy for $63.9 million in profit for General Mills, Tofine, and all these other bullshit companies, right? Now, what else does Trix, Cocoa Puffs, and whole wheat pita wraps have in common? Well, they were all listed on the American Heart Association's Heart Check Food Certification Program. Hooray! The ultimate list of health foods to prevent cardiac disease. What's the common denominator? All of these companies making these products have paid the American Heart Association, AHA, they have paid them for their heart check seal of approval, and they paid them a lot of money, okay? Yet, the American Heart Association, where everyone goes for their cardiology advice, right, is a nonprofit who claims that they want to, quote, build healthier lives free of cardiovascular disease and stroke. Yet, between 2011 and 2012 alone, they accepted $521 million from companies such as General Mills and Tofine. $521 million in a single year, right? In donations to the nonprofit. And somehow their health foods end up on their heart check certified list, right? Not to mention, outside of these foods, they're also getting as much as $1 million at a time from Big Pharma. Now, this is not just the AHA, it's the American Heart Association alongside the American College of Cardiology, both bought and paid for, right? They get paid by big food companies to promote foods that are directly tied to heart disease. Think about the ingredients list I just sent you, right? It's the most inflammatory shit you could possibly think of, and we know that atherosclerosis is an inflammation problem, not a dietary fat problem, right? So they are paid to sell you foods that lead directly to heart disease. Then, on the back end, they get paid by Big Pharma to promote statin drugs prescribed for the heart disease. It's the perfect scheme, man. It's perfect, literally perfect. Now, just for fun, okay? Just for fun, let's try a couple more ingredients lists, okay? Another food product. Ingredients. Beef. What food is that? That's it. That's a whole list, right? The food is beef. Let's try another one. Ingredients. Broccoli. It's weird, right? The food's broccoli. Yeah. All right, one more. Ingredients. Sweet potato. The food is fucking sweet potato, right? Are you kidding me? Very interesting. Because some of those are mainstream health foods, and the other three are all Clovis foods that I eat every day of my life, right? So people will gladly promote the disgusting products backed by the experts, always citing countless ingredients that you can't pronounce and have no idea what they are. Yet when Justin from Clovis says, just eat whole foods, all of a sudden I'm a quack and you're a food scientist, right? All of a sudden you're an expert because you read a BuzzFeed article that says low carb shortens your lifespan and you were too dumb to read it. No, I'm sorry. It's just ridiculous, guys. It's crazy, right? I want you to think long and hard about this. The next time you get into a nutrition debate, really think about this, right? The fact that you could possibly think it's beneficial to ingest frankenfoods that literally didn't exist when your grandparents were kids is staggering to me. Staggering. We have millions of years of eating whole, unprocessed foods from nature. And all of a sudden, we have all these processed foods and we have a corresponding obesity epidemic. I'm sorry to do it this way, but at this point, if you are sold on the mainstream, you should be questioning your own intelligence level. It's that bad. It's that bad, guys. It's terrible. Now, again, mind you, I was where you are. I promise you I was. I did not want to give up my multi-grain pasta, whatever, with Prego sauce that was low fat. I didn't want to give it up, right? I didn't want to. But I did, and here we are. Now, I'm giving my advice to you, and I've helped over 500 people transform their lives for the better, right? By reprogramming their brain and getting them out of the herd mentality, getting them out of the brainwashing, guys. I don't want you to be manipulated. I'm not trying to manipulate anybody right now. This is just that common sense. When you see it spelled out, there's no manipulation happening here. It's crazy. It's crazy that anybody would think Clovis is manipulating anybody. It's ridiculous, right? So the other thing I want to talk about, we talked about the government. Now, let's talk a little bit about doctors, okay? Now, the vast majority of you have been and have always been getting your nutrition from the medical community. But I need you to understand, I've said this before in other AMAs, the medical community, doctors have just about zero training in nutrition. And even if your advice is coming from a nutritionist or a trainer, they're learning the same mainstream nutrition, a little bit of nutrition that the doctors got in school. It's all the same thing that everyone is learning from these places of higher education. Right? I know this to be the truth because I have credentials and I've seen it firsthand and it's awful. I had to answer the questions and the essay questions wrong, knowing what the school was looking for in order to pass their class just so I can have some credentials so people think I know what I'm talking about when I'm literally having to answer things that I know are incorrect just to get the credential, right? It makes me want to die. I almost can't even talk about it, right? Because I can look at you and go, I'm a certified nutritional therapist. I'm a certified specialist in sports nutrition. I'm a certified specialist in fitness nutrition. I know my shit, right? No, I learned it all by myself, okay? Not from these classes. The classes made me dumber. I promise you the classes made me dumber, okay? It's crazy, guys. People don't understand that medical doctors are 100% experts. They are absolute experts. They know things I will never know until the day I die. They're brilliant people. They are experts in dealing with life-threatening emergencies and illnesses, right? Broken bones, infections, appendix ruptures, whatever it may be, right? But these emergency things, we have the best medical practices in the world. They should be incredibly well respected. They are well respected. They are treated like geniuses, right? They're good at life-saving procedures. But doctors were never intended to be nutritionists. It's simply not part of the job description. We made them do it. We forced them into that role. Why? It became a part of the job because 1 in every 2 Americans has a chronic disease. Literally. Chronic disease is an epidemic. Americans kept getting sicker and sicker, and not realizing that it was their food choices, they went to the doctors for answers. Doc, I feel like shit. Please help me. I'm sick. I'm here to see a doctor. That makes sense that human beings did that. It makes absolute sense that they would do that. Who else would they turn to when they're feeling bad, right? And now here we are with the healthcare epidemic. Why? Because these doctors were completely unprepared to deal with those issues. It's not their fault. We asked them to do things that weren't in their job description ever to begin with, right? Again, they are incredible at dealing with life-threatening emergencies. We have the most advanced medical procedures on planet Earth, and I respect them immensely. In the year 1900, in the year 1850, 1750, where as far back as you need to go, if you fell down and broke your leg and it was a compound break, you're probably gonna die, right? Infection probably would have killed you. Infant mortality was through the roof. That's why everyone says the life expectancy was so much less back then. No, it wasn't. We just had a boatload of infant mortality. If you made it past your early years, you lived the same lifespan that you would today, in better health. It's just that infant mortality skews those numbers, right? So I am incredibly happy that we have amazing medical doctors, right? I've had serious things happen to me. I bust my face open. I need to go get stitched up, right? I want a doctor for that. But I will never ask them for nutrition advice, ever. Because that approach has proven to be disastrous, and I'm not a crazy person willing to risk my health. I'm gonna go to the person who knows about nutrition, right? That's it. That's what I'm saying here, guys. None of this is crazy. None of this is crazy. You just gotta pay attention. That's it, right? So one more thing I wanna talk about, and I'm gonna take another little, quick little break, is the economy. So I wanna get back to the government. And what I mean by this chronic disease thing is something that I wanna share with you guys. The Department of Defense is now calling chronic disease an existential threat. So let me make some space here real quick. So the Department of Defense is now calling chronic disease an existential threat. That means it's up there along other threats, such as nuclear war. Getting put on the same list as things such as nuclear war. What? That's how big of a threat it is to the future of the country. Now, if we continue at this rate, I've told you guys this in other AMAs. In 12 years, in 12 short years, we will be spending 100% of America's GDP on treating chronic disease, caring for people with chronic diseases. 85% of that chronic disease, which is 100% preventable and reversible through lifestyle intervention, functional medicine doctors, by the way, okay? Understand this, 100% GDP means the entire country goes bankrupt. Do you realize the implications of that? Every government-funded program goes away overnight. See ya. It will be pandemonium, literal chaos in the streets. Yet we continue on this trajectory. I don't know how it's even possible. It's possible because you have a horseshit study, like the Lancet study, that was just a terrible piece of science that comes out, and you get millions of people who read the headline and share it all over their Facebook. When you share that on Facebook, even if you're making fun of it, your 64-year-old Aunt Judith in Idaho doesn't know why you shared it. She's gonna read it and think that it's true. You see what I'm saying? This is crazy. This is the headlines and clickbait thing. They did not prove that whatsoever. It's an observational study. It cannot prove causation. It's literally impossible. It's out of the running for proving causation from the first sentence. An observational study. Done. You're done. You can't prove causation. Go back and watch my bad science episode. Please, for the love of God, go back and watch my bad science episode. But this has been shared millions of times and read by millions of people. And all of a sudden, low carb is evil again. It's insane, you guys. This is absolutely insane, right? Crazy. Let's take a break. Let's look at some comments because I'm going to bust veins in my forehead on this one. Good Lord. This is nuts. All right, let's see what we got. Comments. I'm down to the bottom. Whoa, you guys are having conversations. Okay, let me see here. You want to email Justin, clovisnutrition.com. Yes, you always want to do that. What do we got? Have your plan made. The rest will follow. I have no idea how to grocery shop to follow the program. Hope I can find these resources within the group. You can find those directly from me. So the only way to get the approved foods list is directly from me. That's part of the I am Clovis custom nutrition protocol. You can just teach by example. Let your good health do the teaching. Great comment. I like that. People tell me I need to be a certified nutritionist to give the advice. Like, yeah, of course they do. Right. I got credentials because I was tired of people saying things like that, not realizing that I'm literally sitting in these classes like, you've got to be kidding me. It terrifies me that people are learning this stuff and thinking that it's true and going out and practicing it. The fact that there are other certified specialists in sports nutrition and specialists in fitness nutrition that are literally out there like teaching people how to count calories and eat higher carbohydrates for their performance makes me want to throw up in my mouth. It's ridiculous, right? What else we got here? All right, I'm just looking to see. Is there a sweet potato emoji? I don't know. That's why I love PPP. I know what every ingredient is. Yes, 100%. If you have an ingredient you have a question about, just ask me. You know, like Bacillus coagulans. Don't be afraid of that one. They're probiotics. It's a strain of bacteria, right? Broccoli, beef. The depth of this analysis is global, which matches the scope of industrial food. Yes, we talked about this last week too. And what happens is as Americans get a little bit wise to this, the big food companies spread their marketing into other places. Like we talked about the rise in type 2 diabetes in China. It's risen by 1,160% because the big food companies freaked out because everybody got really scared about high fructose corn syrup and sugar. So people stopped drinking soda and stopped drinking fruit drinks and all this other poison. Their profits plummeted. So they figured some shit out. So we have a whole new market over here in Asia, right? As a result, China's type 2 diabetes rates have risen by 1,160%. It's really sad. Anywhere where the Western diet goes, Western disease follows, 100%. So again, guys, it looks like I can't see all of your comments. That's totally a bummer. I can't go all the way up. Will this plan work for my entire family, including kids? Yes, Melinda. I cannot be more clear about this, right? And this is another place the mainstream has duped you. I wish I still had tricks and Cocoa Puffs and all that bullshit on the board. Because what the mainstream has convinced you is that there's kid food and there's grown-up food, which is complete and utter horseshit. There is human food and human food. That's it. And sometimes your kids need more of it than you do. Think about it. There's women out there that are trying to eat less than 1,200 calories a day. Do you know that 1,200 calories is the recommended caloric intake for a 3-year-old? For a 3-year-old. And I get 5'9" women coming to me like, I've been eating 1,100 calories and I can't lose any weight. I don't know what's going on, right? Because they're literally killing themselves and they don't realize it. So yes, it's absolutely 100% for your whole family. Not to mention Clovis kids. So if you go to clovis.store, Clovis.store, no .com, just Clovis.store, and you scroll down that homepage, you're going to see lifestyle coaching. You get a custom nutrition plan from me, that's I Am Clovis, and there's also Clovis Kids. Clovis Kids is literally for your kids. I become your kid's health coach. I turn into Mr. Justin. That's my name within the Clovis Kids group on Facebook. I talk directly to your kids. They can send me pictures. They can send me videos. They can ask me questions. They get little kid manifestos. They get an approved foods list. The Clovis Kids approved foods list is a little more lax than the adult one because I need to make the transition easier for them. I expect more discipline from the adults. But again, I'm actually probably updating the approved foods list here soon. New graphics, new things like that, maybe a couple new items. Yeah, there you go. Krista just shared the link. But yeah, I have over 100 kids in Clovis Kids right now. So yeah, it's absolutely for everyone. And you have a the first that I know of in the world, a Clovis Kids macro calculator that teaches you exactly how much your kid needs based on age, height, weight, activity level, all these things, right? So check out Clovis Kids for sure, okay? What else are we looking at here? My kids are under this program. Yep, Clovis Kids. Yeah, I'm definitely close to busting veins in my forehead. That's 100% sure. What else we got? Kids are under his program. My babies live Clovis as well. Yes, 100%. Jackie's adorable. Twins drink Digest and Rest in their little bottles, and it's adorable. No oatmeal. I don't eat it at all. I like the new board. Yeah, me too. But it's being a little bit weird. Being tricky. Where have you been this whole time? No oatmeal, dude. No. Mike is back. Mike is back 3/4 of the way through asking questions. This guy. All right. So when I use salt, people say they couldn't eat Clovis because of high blood pressure. Go. Die! Okay, I don't have time to get into that. So what I want you to do, Carla, I think you've already asked me about this. Go back and watch AMA number 4, which is literally titled "Sodium is Good for You." Okay? The American Heart Association, their recommendation for sodium intake per day, literally by default, that amount of sodium each day puts you at the highest possible risk of heart disease or a cardiac episode. The highest possible risk. Literally, the highest possible risk. Their recommendation leads directly to that. There is no science behind it. Pick up a book called The Salt Fix. And literally, salt is a superfood. I take in 5 to 7 grams a day. And that's the thing. It's super cute when I see people talking about their salt shots. Like, took my salt shot this morning, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm like, okay, do that 12 more times. Okay? That's how important sodium is. I start every day with 3 grams of sodium in 16 ounces of water. But I don't recommend you do that right away because you'll probably get diarrhea, okay? So you don't have to dose it all at once, but I have 5 to 7 grams depending on my workout that day. That's how important sodium is, okay? Can you acutely raise blood pressure if you were to dump a bunch of sodium down your gullet? Yes, you can, okay? Technically. But does it lead to long-term problems? No, quite the opposite. You need to go do this research for yourself. Go read The Salt Fix. Go watch Sodium is Good for You. It's AMA number 4. Go look at it, okay? What else we got? Yeah, Krista, you're absolutely right. The entire argument is completely flawed. It's ridiculous. I'm doing my 5 a day. Yes, awesome. I do salt all day, and I'm 92/58 blood pressure. Yeah, exactly, right? That's it. The proof is in the pudding. These people will tell you that they're afraid of it. They're not afraid. They just don't want to do it. They just don't want to try it. That's it, right? If they tried it, go get their blood pressure measured. Walk into Walgreens and test your own blood pressure. What do you want to do, right? Go on a Sunday, test your blood pressure, take 5 grams of sodium in for the next 14 days, and go test your blood pressure again. See what happens. There you go. Run an experiment on yourself. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. That was not medical advice, okay? Understand that. I have to say I worry about the cost to my budget. Yeah, Melinda, there's a lot of AMAs you need to watch. You need to just email me, and I will send you a list of what you need to watch because I've gone over the grocery bill debate over and over and over and over again. You will save money on Clovis. I guarantee it. Again, society has the wool pulled over your eyes, the insurance premiums and doctor's visits and all these food in a box that goes stale after 3 weeks. You probably got stale cereal sitting in your counter right now. You're like, it was on sale for $2 and the half of it went stale, right? I'm telling you, once you remove all the shit from your grocery bill, then we can talk about grass-fed beef, pasture-raised eggs, all these things. You have plenty of room in your budget when you remove the nonsense. It's not adding on top of your grocery bill. It's eliminating your grocery bill altogether and starting from scratch. That's completely different than buying the Cheerios and the Fruit Loops and the soda and the Mountain Dew and then trying to add grass-fed beef on top of it. Doesn't work like that. That's not how the plan goes, right? Everybody spends a lot less money. All right, let's see. Do I have more sections? Yeah, a couple more things I want to talk about. Okay, so to the skeptics. I'm going to keep talking to the skeptics here, okay? Because the number one thing that I hear from skeptics is we need carbohydrates or our brain needs glucose, but all these things. First off, this is false. It's not true. There's zero evidence backing that whatsoever. The body can happily turn fatty acids into ketones and your brain will run on them preferentially. And all the glucose your brain could possibly need can be created through something called lipolysis, breaking down triglycerides and using the backbone of those triglycerides, which is glycerol, for something called gluconeogenesis, and give your brain all the glucose it needs without ever ingesting a carbohydrate. There's your science for the episode, okay? I want you to understand. Carbohydrates are the only non-essential macronutrient. Without fat, you die. Without protein, you die. Without carbohydrates, you live a long, happy life, you're lean as shit, and you don't have any problems, right? That literally. But somehow, it's the most dominant macronutrient in America today. It doesn't make any sense, right? So next, everyone argues this carbohydrate thing without separating processed carbs from whole foods. They say, well, we need carbohydrates, so we need to eat bread, and we need to eat whole grain pasta, and we need fruit, and blah, 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 blah. We saw this with the ingredients list, right? Cocoa Puffs are not the same as carbohydrates. In both of those foods, Cocoa Puffs and sweet potato, Cocoa Puffs are not the same as sweet potatoes. I'm getting my brain mixed up, right? Cocoa Puffs are not the same as sweet potatoes. Yet, the number one macronutrient for both of those foods is carbohydrates, right? So you have to separate carbs. You can't make an idiotic blanket statement like, we need carbohydrates, we gotta eat Pop-Tarts, right? It's crazy. It doesn't make sense. Cocoa Puffs are not the same as sweet potatoes. Not all carbs are created equal. Now, let's talk about sugar and obesity, okay? I'm gonna draw this up here for you so you can see. People don't realize that the mainstream diet, and I'm gonna explain this to you in a second, the mainstream diet is literally a 60% sugar diet. That's what it is, they just don't realize it. So let's talk about obesity and sugar consumption. Let's talk about years, okay? Let's do this. We did 1800, 1900, and then we're gonna jump to 2009. Let's talk about average sugar consumption. Okay? Average sugar consumption in the year 1700, 4.9 grams. Average sugar consumption in the year 1800, 22.4 grams. Average sugar consumption by 1900, 112 grams. By 2009, average sugar consumption, 227 grams. I was trying to find 2008 amounts and I actually couldn't find a consensus on it. 227 grams of sugar in the average American diet, which is up around 3,500 calories a day right now, right? Literally, most of the diet is coming from sugar. It's insane, okay? Now, why? It's so easy to say, but I don't drink soda, Justin. What do you mean this much sugar is coming from the diet? I don't drink soda. Or I don't drink orange juice, right? What you're forgetting is the food pyramid. Our good old friend, the food pyramid, right, has this section. That bottom section is literally called bread, cereal, rice, and pasta. Six to 11 servings a day. That's what the food pyramid decided. You're going to have 6 to 11 servings a day. Guys, we've talked about glycemic index. Bread is like the highest possible score on the glycemic index. Why? Because it's 100% sugar. It will list total carbohydrates. It can even say sugar 0. In your body, 100% of that bread is converted into glucose, aka sugar, in the body. It's processed in the body as sugar. This is 6 to 11 servings a day of straight sugar. Hello, chronic disease, right? In fact, since the adoption of the food pyramid, obesity has risen by 61%. Obesity's gone up by 61% just since the adoption of the food pyramid. That's it. The only change in society, right, is we adopted the food pyramid. Obesity skyrockets by 61%, right? If you think this is a coincidence, I literally have no idea what else to say to you. I don't. You should probably stop consuming Clovis content, honestly. Or come back in a few years when you're desperate and ready for change. because I don't know what to say at this point. I really don't. There's just zero defense for this. There's no defense for this. There's no reasoning with or arguing with anyone who believes that this is coincidental. There's just no arguing with it. So what I want the skeptics to understand here is that you're on the wrong side of history. Literally, you're on the wrong side of history. So if nothing else, I just want you to consider this one thing. If you continue to argue for calorie counting, high carbohydrate, low fat, and government recommendations for nutrition, you are irrefutably on the wrong side of history. Your grandkids or great-grandkids or great-great-grandkids, however old you are, they're going to look back at 2018 and they're going to talk about how wildly uneducated you were and how you didn't pay attention to anything. That's literally what they're going to be saying. They're going to be like, those dumb cavemen of 2018 eating all that sugar and whole grains and thinking it was good for them, right? Because society has two choices, adapt or go extinct, literally. That's what we're facing with these kind of numbers. It's insane. So your grandkids are going to look back, great-grandkids, whatever, they're going to look back and be like, wow, they really did not have any idea what they were doing. By the way, those grandkids, great-grandkids, great-great-grandkids, whatever, will probably also be born insulin resistant because of your hand-me-down genetics, because you refuse to change your mind, right? Let's just be honest about that. It's crazy. There are transgenerational consequences to these nutrition choices. It's nuts. I promise you, the tide is changing. Functional medicine models are being tested all across the country, including in hospitals, with staggering results. Huge healthcare savings that are too big for the insurance companies to ignore. For example, spend $1,000 on functional medicine intervention and prevention for a patient and save $15,000 that same year that you don't have to spend on caring for them with their chronic disease. It's a no-brainer. Spend $1,000, save $15,000. It's a no-brainer even for big corporations like the insurance companies. The average type 2 diabetic with a condition proven to be completely reversible costs about $500,000 to care for over their lifetime. And what did we talk about? 30 million Americans estimated right now have type 2 diabetes. If every single one of those costs over $500,000 in care, take 30 million and multiply it by $500,000. These are the numbers that we're looking at, everybody. It's crazy. So no matter how you look at the healthcare crisis, things must change. It's up to you to decide what side of history you're going to be on. So if you're one of these people that loves saying that you did things before it was cool, I highly recommend you check out Clovis. Because what's also going to happen is your great-grandkids, your great-great-grandkids, whatever it may be, are going to be looking at the crazy people like Justin and Clovis and being like, these guys had to figure it out and nobody paid attention to them. What the hell, man? This guy had 1,100 people in the Clovis Academy. Why didn't he have 300 million? I don't know. You tell me. Because people don't want to change their minds, right? It's crazy, guys. This is crazy. So let's jump into live Q&A and then we'll see what's going on. See how everyone's feeling, see what you learned. You learned about sugar, you learned about the economy, you learned about the government, learned about the Center for the Department of Defense, learned about the American Heart Association and their $521 million fat pockets per year, right? Talked about that stuff. Found a functional medicine doctor across the lake. I'm calling them. Awesome. Definitely call them. That's a great idea. I am a firm believer that every single person should have a functional medicine doctor, but I warn you, it's not covered by insurance. It's going to be expensive. Move shit around. Figure out your priorities, right? I promise you. It should be your number one priority, okay? What else we got here? Have to head out. Great info. Cool, Kristen. Thank you. Have a great night. Good one to share out when people have Clovis questions. Yes, 100%. What else we got here? That was Mario music. Thanks for everything, everyone. I had to leave now as I'm done for work and going home, but I'll be emailing asking for lots of help around the group. You're very welcome, Melinda. Give me a shout. Just jump in. Just go all in with this. I'm telling you. I promise you. It'll change your life. Let's do it. Melinda, look at eatwild.com. Yes, fantastic. Awesome. Yes, I eat high quality food, top tier, just not all kinds of waste and horseshit. Grocery bills are lower, much lower. Exactly, that's what everybody finds when they first get into this. They're so scared of it, and then they figure out a way to work it out. But the other thing is, when I teach them how to go to local farms, things like eatwild.com, my dad just found a great local farm here in Tennessee that I'm super excited about. They have a ton of great stuff. So yeah, absolutely, it's you're going to be better off 100%. And I'll tell you right now, I spend less on healthcare than probably all of you do, literally. I honestly do. And people think I'm nuts for the way that I do it. Like, I don't have normal insurance. I just don't have normal health insurance. I think it's foolish to. The Obamacare plans and all this stuff, it's ridiculous. It's so astronomically expensive. It's not even funny. Like, it's just crazy. I don't need a doctor. Like, that, what? So I will gladly pay the functional medicine doctor the one time if I get sick with something and he can get me in that day. It's going to cost me $250. That's probably not going to happen like ever. If it does, maybe once a year. And I promise you that payment that I give him for that visit beats the hell out of your co-pays. I promise you, right? Just have a catastrophic plan and figure out your own healthcare. It's super easy. I'll be sending emails, spend a lot less money in groceries on Clovis. Awesome. It's so funny when people question Clovis so much but don't question the daily food they eat. I don't get it. I just keep telling myself that it is because they don't know better yet. Yes, and that's the thing. You have to approach it from a place of empathy. I once got called a dick. I'm going to be honest with you, because I was asked by a woman if the Clovis protocol is safe for breastfeeding. And just the mood I was in or what, I just said, have you ever asked if Doritos are safe for breastfeeding? And I cited Doritos specifically. And that wasn't the best way to handle that. But it's laughable to me. I mean, when we went through the ingredients, right? I'm like, what about this food? Beef, beef. Broccoli, broccoli. Sweet potato, sweet potato. Cocoa Puffs, whole grain corn and corn flour and rice starch and maltodextrin and red number 40 and yellow number 6, right? And how come nobody questions if the General Mills food is safe for breastfeeding? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, you literally get to a point where if you want to respect yourself and feel good about your general level of intelligence, please pay attention to this stuff. I mean, really, it's that difficult. You're getting the wool pulled over your eyes, and what people don't realize is that they're doing it voluntarily because it doesn't take a lot of work. It's not hard like you think it is, especially when you can go to clovis.store and email me directly. Justin at clovisculture.com. Clovis.store. I have literally created the entire plan for you. I've taken all the guesswork out. I tell you my favorite supplements. I tell you my favorite workout programs. I give you instructional videos. I give you educational videos. I give you my favorite books. I give you my favorite podcasts. I give you my favorite links to online educational resources. You get my approved foods list, hand selected for nutrient density. You get all this. I give you custom macronutrients. I give you a step-by-step plan for you to follow, right? How is this difficult? It's just not. It's not difficult, right? I've transformed the lives of over 500 people, everybody. This is not by accident. It's not by accident, right? I wish that 7 years ago, there was a guy on a Facebook Live like this where I could do a comment and go, what'd you just say, dude? Did you just say your email? That's your personal email? Did you just say that? I would have wrote to that dude that night, would have been on a plane the next morning following it to a T, and it would have changed my life, and I would have saved a lot of pain and suffering. The biohacking, all the things that I've tried, all the things that I've gone through, right? The trial and error, the school of hard knocks really is how I did all this stuff, and you guys get to avoid all that nonsense, right? It's super simple. Clovis.store. Get yourself a custom nutrition plan, sign up for Clovis Kids, get your family in there, whatever you need to do. Anybody have any questions? What do we got here? All right, scrolling down. Steve, that's funny. All the skeptics. Yes, I would love the skeptics. I'd love to do a Facebook Live and bring a skeptic on Facebook Live and be like, tell me where I'm wrong, dude. Let's do this thing. Let's have a conversation, right? But I don't deal with people who argue emotionally. I'll get super emotional because I've done the research. You know, it's like, I said this to my buddy Nick the other day. I was just like, dude, you know, I don't blame most people for not going as deep as I do because I read about this stuff all day, every day, And I promise you, it's hard to be super happy-go-lucky, love everybody Justin when I spend my morning cup of coffee reading about 6-month-old babies with insulin resistance. That's really difficult, guys. So it's like I said, there's no manipulation going on here. I'm trying to do the best I can do to change a few lives and do my part while I'm here and able and alive. That's what I'm trying to do here, right? I'm sick of people getting lied to, man. It's disgusting. It's terrible. I was sick of being lied to. I don't want you to be lied to. Let's fix this together, okay? One of my clients works for the AHA and she runs a huge chapter locally, and yes, she is on low-carb diet and follows paleo. Go figure. So the AHA isn't ready to say they were wrong. Exactly. That's exactly what I just talked about, right? They don't want to admit fault. They can't admit fault. Ego. Ego tied up in beliefs and ideas, and far too much money going on. It's crazy. Why do they keep going back and forth on eggs being good for you? Who? That's what we're talking about. The experts, right? The experts. They keep going back and forth on eggs being good for you because it's a debate about cholesterol. Guess how much dietary cholesterol impacts serum cholesterol levels in the body? 0. Go look up the Framingham study. That's it. Plain and simple. Look up the Framingham study, please. It's literally called Framingham. Look up the Framingham study. That's the biggest one, but there are literally countless ones. I put an email together for Kristen, another member in the Clovis Academy, that's literally just study after study after study after study debunking the heart health thing. It's the same thing. They came out with a new article all of a sudden. I think it was someone from Harvard that said coconut oil is poison. What are you talking about? 80% of your body's cholesterol is created by your liver. It doesn't matter. If you eat less cholesterol, your body will make more cholesterol. If you eat more cholesterol, your body will eat less cholesterol. Yes, I just said if you eat more fat, your body will produce less cholesterol. That's exactly what I said. Biochemistry lesson. That's why they go back and forth, this cholesterol thing. People go, ooh, better use the shell and separate and only use the egg whites so I get the protein and no cholesterol and get rid of all the freaking vitamins and nutrients, all the most amazing part of the egg that's in that yolk. Rah! Makes me mad. Stop wasting yolks, you sons of bitches. I'll make a t-shirt about that. But anyway. Thank you for the push. After 3 years in searching, I found functional medicine doc. Yes, that's awesome. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. 3 times, 4 times. Killer. That's great. Try to bring skeptics. I was blocked for sharing your AMAs. Yes, I'm not surprised that that happened at all. I don't share their stuff anywhere where it's not asked for. Again, guys, Clovis is all organic. I don't do paid marketing. Like, I put up a couple Facebook posts every now and then. Like, this is 100% organic. It's all been word of mouth, right? Do I wish you guys shared Clovis more? Yeah. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Of course I do. Absolutely, right? But it's all organic. When the information is good, the people will come, right? I'm not bombarding you with fancy videos and paid ads and all these things, right? That's not how it happens. I talk to you, I transform your lives, you give me a couple of testimonies, and you say I can use those pictures to tell other people. That's how it happens. Let's spread this thing more. And you guys keep asking me for incentives. The incentive is, I helped you change your life. There you go. But no, for real, it's like, yeah, I really, really want to spread this thing. 3 in Montreal, but afraid they don't speak English. Nice. What else we got here? All right, we're back up to Krista and Sean with their functional medicine doctor. Sugar burners waste the yolks. Yes, 100%, they do. That's terrible. Fruit eating sugar burners, nuts, right? All right, guys, well, it's 9:15. That one went pretty quicker than I thought because I had a boatload of notes, but when I get worked up, I start talking real fast and raising my voice and getting real red and things like that. But all awesome stuff. It's great. I've been up since 4 o'clock Central Time. Flew in from North Carolina this morning. Boy, are my arms tired. But yeah, so I'll probably call it a night here. Anything else? You guys have any specific questions? Any questions? Remember, in the live Q&A, you can ask me anything. You can ask me about last week. You can ask me about week 1. You can ask me about week 4. Whatever. There's 34 of these. Don't forget to go to clovis.store. So clovis.store/AMA. You can get all the AMAs. Actually, you know what? I wonder if the new podcast is up. Probably by now because I posted it today. So Ask Me Anything number 33 How Weight Loss Ruined Everything is now up on iTunes and Google Play and Spotify for free. Again, guys, free. This stuff is all free. I do it all for free for you, right? The only thing that's not free is a custom nutrition plan because it takes time. I'm literally giving you a customized plan specifically for you. Again, I don't give any medical advice. I am not a doctor. People send me their lab results and all these things, right? But I'm not a doctor. I can't give you medical advice. But I can give you general nutrition advice, right? So hit me up. Let's do this thing. I want to work with you. It's always me. It's not a team. It's not a bunch of minions. It's Justin. You talk directly to Justin, and I build your plan for you. That's the way this works, okay? All right, tequila recommendations. I'm always going to say Casamigos. Always going to say Casamigos. If you're on a smaller budget, I would go with Milagro. Milagro is a pretty good one. I'm trying to think if I have anything here that I can see. Off the top of my head, I would say Casamigos and then Milagro for sure. Those are both fantastic. Oh, Código. Código is another great one. All three of those are 100% agave silver tequila. They're amazing. So that's my tequila recommendation for you. Casamigos and Código. Casamigos will probably be most expensive. I think Código will be second most expensive. And Milagro is just a great budget-friendly silver tequila. Badass. Check it out. It's good stuff. What else we got? Anything else? Oh, wow, that's great. One time I shared your AMA about depression and someone actually thanked me because they were suffering from it. And again, we never know. Yeah, that's it. Share as much as you can. And that depression one was a big one for me. It was really eye-opening for me because I've never actually suffered from depression, but it's unbelievable how confused people are about it, you know, how scary it is. Yeah, Clovis walks into a bar and either does a shot of tequila or gets bourbon on the rocks. That's what happens. It's either going to be Casamigos, straight up, or I might get a bullet bourbon, or I might get a bullet on the rocks. That's what happens when Clovis walks into a bar. You don't want to walk into a bar with Clovis. I have a history. But yeah. All right, guys. So, live Ask Me Anything, number 34. This one is called Time to Change Your Mind. I hope that I helped you guys. I hope you can share this with some family members. I hope that family members don't mind passion. Sometimes I get nervous because I know that you guys in Clovis that see me live every day and all that. Like, you know where my heart's at in this thing. And sometimes it's hard to get across because I get so worked up. Like, I get crazy worked up. And I know that I can be a little intimidating and my Rhode Island accent comes out and all these things. And, right, I get all that. But it's really just passion, guys. Like, I love people, man. I love all of you guys. And I'm for real. Like, I love you. I'm not a bullshitter. I genuinely feel that way. Like, I try to live every day with as much love as I possibly can. And the only thing, love is first, and then secondary is empathy. I understand where you guys are coming from, you know? So, yeah, that's it. That's my spiel. I'm genuinely just trying to do as much good in the world as I can and try to undo some of this nonsense that we untangled with the Cocoa Puffs and the tricks and the artificial ingredients and the AHA and the College of Cardiology and all these things, the money and the corruption and the disgusting things, right? It's horrible. It's horrible, man. So I'm just trying to do my part to undo some of this stuff. So that's where I'm at. That's why Ask Me Anything number 34 happened. Time to change your mind. Share this one. I will get the podcast up much faster this week. I promise you. I'll put the podcast up tomorrow for sure. And then the blog post will be shortly to follow there. And we'll decide an AMA topic for next week. We'll go live in I Am Clovis and Clovis Kids and Clovis Academy. Get on there. Clovis Academy is free. If you don't have to buy anything from me, just facebook.com/groups/Clovis Academy. Go there, join up. You guys, Academy members, call to action. Go add some people. Go add 10 of your closest friends. Again, I ask you to do that sometimes. Go in, add 10 of your closest friends. We'll do a manifesto. Hit them with a manifesto tomorrow. Hit them with the podcast tomorrow. It'll be great, right? Let's get the word out there. Let's help people understand, right? I really just want people to understand the depth of this manipulation. It's insane. There are so many people out there that are just like, calories and high carb and low fat, and they don't know where it's coming from. They've just been completely lied to and completely manipulated. It makes me sad. So, I'm Justin, so I get more mad than I do sad, but it is really sad. Like, it's hard to deal with. So, share this with your people, all right? Ask Me Anything, number 34, time to change your mind. Love you guys so much. Clovis, thank you. Until next week, until tomorrow, in the groups, we're going to go live and talk some more, okay? Thank you guys so much.